Welcome back, guys. It's been a while since we've done the podcast. About a year now, right?
Yeah, it's been a year since we've been out in San Francisco on our Roblox adventures, and then we stopped uploading.
Yeah. It's been kind of a busy year and a pretty hectic year, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, and we're doing for the podcast now. We're going to be walking around games and showcases, anything that has like a nice build to kind of have something visual and something for us to do as we talk. So that's right now we're in Blood Samurai, I think testing place or something like that. Blood Samurai 2? Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's by Opulent Studios.
Cool. So we're just going to explore this map while we talk about stuff. And let's see, what's the first topic?
We got features we want Roblox to support, or we're kind of looking forward to or wanting them to improve on.
How did you climb? How are you climbing?
G.
Oh, okay. So features that Roblox want, we want from Roblox. Well, I already know there's a bunch of upcoming ones. I don't know if you ever look at the progress log or whatever the heck they do.
Yeah.
The roadmap. Do you pay attention to that?
Not a lot. Go ahead and elaborate on it.
The Roblox official roadmap. They post it on the wiki every now and then, and it says everything they want to do for every quarter of the year. And they usually finish about 50% of the stuff, and then kick either half the stuff off that's left, or move it to the next year. And that's how we knew things like skinned meshes were coming, and
because that was on the roadmap and stuff.
Yeah, and like clouds, which are in beta right now, I think, which I'm really hyped for.
Yeah, I'm hyped for clouds. That's gonna look awesome.
I'm hoping
just having blocks in the sky.
Yeah, I'm hoping clouds can be. I know they're not going to be super flexible at first, and I hope Roblox doesn't break them. But I want them to be able to be almost a substitute for fog. I was thinking about that earlier today. What if you could change the level in the sky and then make them really close to the ground?
Okay. So making hug the ground.
Yeah, because then that'd be awesome. For builds and showcases.
How clouds are looking, do you think that would actually look like fog, or that'd be more dynamic?
It'd probably look more like wind or something. You ever been in those showcases where they have fog? Well, not fog, but particles that are just going through everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I think that'd look cool because if you made really light clouds and then they went through the walls and stuff, that'd look cool.
That'd be cool. I'm really looking forward to them kind of optimizing Futures Bright, because
oh yeah, isn't it really
I talked about
choppy?
This on Twitter.
Everyone's talking about how choppy it is.
Yeah, I tried to use it, and it looks super nice, and then in a combat game like Deep Woken, we were running in there, and your frames just drop on, and I have a really good computer, but my frames just drop to 30 FPS or lower.
It's got to be processed.
It's unplayable.
Some kind of processing. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's, you know how when you get close to stuff in Roblox, the shadows appear? I think that's what's happening. And that's where you make slight movements, even if you're not near anything and it doesn't look like anything near you changed. You might be near a cave or something, and that finally loads in, and that lags you really bad. That's what I think.
Well, also, in a game with a day or night system, day-night system, where the shadows are constantly rendering across the map,
they need to add
tanks performance.
Baked lighting options. If we could just say that these shadows right here that I'm standing in, those are always going to be there no matter what. For people that make specific levels or specific areas in games that don't have day-night cycles, I wish they could you could lock in the shadows and then it doesn't affect anybody's processing power.
Maybe if it's global shadows where it is affected by day and night, you could have I don't know, render states where it's between these times this is how it'll look.
Oh, so, yeah, just change that.
Constantly be updating.
I mean, but, as far as we know, Roblox, I don't know if they do, but as far as we know, maybe they already store that data. If the sun isn't moving, maybe they already do that. I don't know how the lighting system works. But if they aren't doing that, they're better. Featuring Bright looks good on a lot of stuff, but it looked really bad on smooth plastic.
Smooth plastic?
Yeah, I mean, because you don't have a lot of smooth plastic in your stuff. I was playing around with it, and it it reflects off smooth plastic in a really weird way that makes it look
Oh, wait.
What's up?
It does something like that to slate. It makes slate look super shiny. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. It's trying to do the depth on the material. What do you think this is? Oh, this is how you do stuff.
That's how you get your NEM.
what I'm waiting for, and this would help like everybody's game. And they were talking about this a while ago, and then they dropped it. And I don't know why, but the idea of somehow caching models like like these trees that are like down there, right? Like if all those trees are the same model but like offset in their position, then they'll all be stored in data as one tree, and they'd only have to be rendered, once and just transformed, something like that. And then you wouldn't.
Would that be a lot more performant?
Oh, that'd like help tons of stuff. Any asset that you place more than once could then it wouldn't have to like have all its own properties and stuff. It'd just be like, it'd just say, copy what this is and transform
That'd be perfect.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I feel like that might be the thing, is that Roblox kind of doesn't support like giant games. I mean, I feel like universes are kind of our workaround right now for like huge places, because like you can just break up the map. But then like players have to go through loading screens, and depending on like how your game is supposed to work, like how you almost always like join your friends in servers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that can kind of like mess up sometimes with like what you're trying to do with the player. I don't know. I think that feature is a little not buggy, but like being able to like block players and like you always join your friends server.
Yeah, I don't mind that, because a lot of people have their follows off on my friends list for some reason. Like people that even shouldn't even have them off, dude. I don't know who. I can't name any names because I don't remember. But like I see people and it's like they're in game, but they're not saying what. It's like, dude, what are you hiding, man? And then if you go to friends playing, you can kind of see like what's the odd one out, like what's the weird thing that the guy doesn't want you seeing, and then you can join that, and you're guaranteed put in their server.
That's true. What about blocking players? Like I feel like
that's stupid, man.
I mean, in PvP games, that's a detriment.
Yeah, blocking
because
players,
you can
that's
just
stupid.
block players you don't like.
Yeah, block a player and then rejoin the game, and you'll go into a different server. Even if there isn't another server available, Roblox will prioritize making you a new server so you don't have to be in a server with that person. I guess I can understand it, but
I see why for like
oh my god, dude, I just found like a secret. I just found a secret.
Where? Oh, I see.
Yeah, come down here.
I can see why for privacy reasons, obviously, because it's like, well, if somebody's like harassing you and you want to block them, then that makes sense. I guess just in PvP-oriented games,
sorry.
Thanks. Dude, this like freaked me out, and then you like stabbed me in the back.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying in PvP. It has to be a setting, something we can turn on and off. Friend joining and block joining. This is how you get the armor, I guess.
Samurai stealth armor. I think I've seen people like run around with this. I wonder what like this is.
That's probably just
something. This is something I like in games. You know that I really like
secret
stuff that just like maybe it doesn't tell the player anything, but they just kind of like wonder. It's like, oh, what's this mean? Is this some like angel of death or whatever with like the samurai stealth?
There's not enough secrets in games nowadays. I'll tell you what.
Well, I feel like developers are kind of afraid to like make their games ambiguous. I've heard people talk about it this way. It's like, why would you make something in a game if everyone's not going to see it? And I think that's like a bad perspective to have, because it's like, if you make a game with like secrets and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And like not everyone's going to see it. Like, and players know that. The players know you have secrets in your game. The people who do find it are going to feel like they're just going to feel more special for playing your game, because it's like, oh wow, I found this thing that nobody else has found, or like only a couple people have found. I just think that makes their experience.
No, I think that's just worth it. I think it's totally worth it. And it doesn't even have to be big secrets. Even though the bigger the secret it is, the cooler it is that the developer trusted players to not handhold them to the experience.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be big. Just put in like some small stuff that's people don't expect. I get a lot of requests. People talk about it all the time. Is people want developers to add Easter eggs to their game. Like, they actually ask for Easter eggs. Like, it's a really popular thing.
Oh yeah, I get asked for that a lot.
I know. I never thought like that as a player, but there must be something to it. That they just like secrets.
I think when you have like older games, like Easter eggs are like they're like fan service for like your old followers and stuff. Like, there's people like from Rogue that like want Rogue Easter eggs in Deep Open, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
I mean,
a little nod to them.
That's the meta name of Easter eggs, though. I wonder if people really do mean, because Easter eggs in games before used to be references to pop culture or other games, right? Maybe they just mean secrets now.
Yeah,
I don't know. Mean, maybe that's just like the new popular term for secret. I don't know.
I wonder if that's what they mean. I wonder if when they say Easter egg, they mean like actually secrets, or just like, I mean, you could have like an Easter egg that's like the tutorial NPC like referencing pop culture or another game. Like if you had a guy who gives you a sword and he says it's dangerous to go alone, take this. Like that's like a Zelda reference.
Yeah. I guess people are hyped for that for some reason. Is that stuff popping in for you?
I think it is. This game might be using
streaming, so maybe it's bigger than we thought.
Yeah, it might be. Actually, streaming's a good way to implement Future is Bright, but streaming is like kind of broken, which sucks.
Look, man, streaming's been a problem. It's been on, how like devs don't have enough control over it, and they haven't had control over it for a long time. And they always add more stuff to it to try and help, but for some reason it never seems to be enough. Because I don't even think there's a disconnect anymore. Throughout my experiences interning at Roblox, anytime we had a time to talk to engineers or, people in charge of stuff like that, they all knew that we didn't like streaming enabled, and they wanted to know why and how they could improve it. So I'm sure they know, but I don't know what's happening now. Like, I don't know why it's still that not good. And maybe
I've thought about like.
Oh, go ahead.
I've thought about like the disconnect between like engineers and like developers, right? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like the same thing between like developers and players, right? Because like sometimes developers just don't really understand what players are asking for.
Oh, that's true.
Or they like see what they're asking for, but like maybe it doesn't fit with like the vision the developer has or something, or it like conflicts with something else. Oh, what's this?
I don't know, something else cool. See, like I thought, look at this. This is cool. These were talking about the secrets, man. I mean, I don't know if this is a secret, but it was because it wasn't rendering. This is the Golden Buddha.
But this is the Phoenix Child. You can click him. This is cool.
I don't have any money, so let's see.
But yeah, stuff like this. Like, this is just like, I don't know. Anything we like climbed a
random mountain that appeared out of nowhere. And then we found the Phoenix Child.
The Phoenix Child. Like the way that's named, the Phoenix Child, like that just makes me think like, oh dude, what does that even mean? Like that's cool.
I don't think there's fall damage.
I don't think so either. What is this?
Oh, this guy made a noise.
The Mongols throughout our village. Can I show you? Oh, so you basically have to pay for everything in this game, which, makes sense as like a form of like dated progression.
See, now look behind you. Look how cool that looks. I wonder if that renders in later when we get closer. Or not behind you, but over where I'm facing. We went down a hole and now we're going out here.
Render out there.
Yeah. But, yeah, streaming enabled. I don't know. One day when it comes back, I'll use it. But the last time I really gave it, maybe a lot of developers aren't giving it a good chance anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally. Look, we haven't been over there yet.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's. Maybe it's unfinished. I don't know. We can run over there. I feel like that might just be unfinished, right? No way.
We'll see.
I saw something just pop in.
But yeah. So I don't know the last time I gave it a good shot. I don't know the last time I turned streaming enabled on and see if anything broke. But I also don't want to do that because one of the biggest issues, and even though they may have fixed a lot of the buggy issues, is they don't let you like force certain things to turn in and out. So like, all the stuff that's popping in a good, and like the way it should be is they should be able to set like a dummy model of like a low poly something over here, or like just like a big brick so that it exists and details pop in later, which is actually something they're working on. If you have string enabled, and I don't know if you ever saw it, I showed it to Ark, but I don't know if I showed it to you. But if you have streaming enabled on, you can make models automatically go low detail from far away, and like literally like the grouped models, like that idea. But they're a little buggy too and weird. But at least it's a step in the right direction. So they're trying. But that shouldn't be streaming enabled exclusive either. That should be allowed anywhere.
I feel like if I like have my way with how I wanted streaming enabled to work. It'd just be like you could like set models to like load in at certain distances, and like they would disappear outside of that distance. That way, I could like group together a whole island in like Deep Woken or something, and then like you sail away from it, it unrenders.
Or like these torches.
These
renders. Torches don't need to be loaded in from far away, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I guess is something you can do by yourself, but it's just so stupid to have to do that.
Yeah, I think it's easy in like an island game for like that concept to work.
Yeah,
it's like
because
you have these set areas.
In an open, more connected, not open world, but more terrain, like terrestrial, like this game. You can still do it with details though. You could still do it with details. I might write a system for like that for my next game if I have to. Like just, I wonder how hard it'd be to just turn details on and off from a distance. Probably would be that hard.
So the way they have it in this game, the Sakura petals are like falling all around us.
Yeah,
but they're local, obviously. I think they had like snow before, and I thought that looked really good. But I'm not sure how I feel about the Sakura petals, just because like we're not near any trees sometimes.
Yeah, I think they didn't. I mean, this is like their kind of test showcase place, right? So I'm not. Yeah, they probably don't have this in the movie.
No, I think it's interesting. But I think I do think it looks better with weather. Like if this were rain as well.
When's Roblox? Now that they're adding clouds, when are they going to let rain?
If they added like actual like weather implementation that we didn't even have a script, that'd be kind of nice.
It would be cool, but then everyone would use it, right? And then it wouldn't even be cool anymore. But
it wouldn't even be special. It would have to be good enough to where you wouldn't want to write your own system for it as well. Like it would have to look nice enough.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like Roblox Water is interesting, but it's also like I would say like making your own water is generally better if you can do it well.
Yeah, for some reason, well, here's the problem with water still, and always has been, I guess, is that it's tied to terrain. So you can't place it in small amounts, which kind of sucks. And if you do place it, has to be aligned to the grid, which only works on terrain-based things. And then terrain, like if you're going to have a giant ocean of terrain water, it'd look good, but
there'd be a cutoff at some point.
Yeah, it could cut off because of how it works. But the way terrain loads, it like loads in really laggy for some reason. Like the loading process for it is a lot of memory for some reason.
I mean, it probably is like higher render cost. Like,
well, no. I'm talking about like
stuff is
straight up
usually
memory.
pretty high
Like
quality.
when you get near it, like your system, like even the Roblox servers take a while to boot up if it's a terrain heavy game. And I'm sure the water has that same problem. I don't know why, but it's just how it is. Terrain takes up a lot of memory. And they really could try to push it. I mean, I don't know. Roblox would be a little bit cooler if instead of adding features like grass and water to terrain, they added it to just parts, which is, the terrain team, whoever works on it there, doesn't want to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if we could place grass, oh, baby, it looks so good.
I was about to say, do you mind if I mention BU at all?
Oh, go ahead.
The way you do, like, terrain grass mixed with parts in that is pretty great. But you kind of had to do that because you can't just put that grass on parts, right? Would you have preferred to just put grass on parts? Because I think the foliage they're working on is really nice.
The whole art style for the game is based around terrain at this point, so I don't know what I would have rather done at that anymore.
Okay.
But I know every other game I've ever would have made would have had grass on the grass parts if it was an option.
Yeah. It's a nice feature. I think they did well with it. I just wish it wasn't tied to terrain.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're adding more stuff to it. They're adding flowers and stuff. So maybe that.
Yeah, maybe in the future, terrain will actually be like kind of more of what people will lean towards instead of like the actual part building.
If you wanted to make like a game that looked really realistic, I guess maybe you'd use terrain. But
have you seen Room 2?
No, what's Room 2?
We could head over there right now. It'll be a lot on screen, but it like looks like a real game. Like it doesn't even look like it's on Roblox.
Well, how big is it?
It's not very big. It's not very big. It's like Doom. It's effectively Doom.
Oh, you mean Room on? Oh, that stuff. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I've
Room
seen
2.
that. No, that stuff looks cool.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
They do a really good job. I know what you're talking about. The team that's making that. I thought it was just a game called Room, like a Room. You mean like the Doom Roblox game?
Yeah, the Doom Roblox.
Didn't we talk about that before? We had an opinion of, or maybe it was just in my head.
I don't think we talked about it on the podcast.
We talked about it in a call. Didn't we say why are they? It's really cool that they're doing that, but why aren't they just making their own thing at this point? Was that you I was talking with?
I don't think that was me.
Well, I was talking about it with someone. The point remains, that stuff looks so good, and they do it so well that why are they just emulating Doom? Why don't they just make their own game at that point? I know they're calling it Room.
I mean, I feel like they might have a passion for Doom. Like, the way, like,
they're
have you played
Doom,
the game at all?
No, I haven't, but I follow them on Twitter, or at least I look at all their Twitter stuff every now and then. They add, like, Doom weapons and Doom enemies. Like, why are they
also,
that?
Like, their movement is really good. Like, the game feels like Doom. It's really good.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're so talented,
really
why are they just
games.
recreating Doom? I don't understand. And they're not even recreating, like, if they were recreating the old Doom, like the Doom from the past, as like
They did that.
I know they did.
Did
they did. I've seen it, but if that's what their new project was, and they did it, that's understandable. They're doing that from like a game history standpoint of, look, we can recreate the game in Roblox. But now they're trying to recreate like the new Doom, like the Doom 2016 and Doom 2018. I don't know when that stuff comes out. Doom 2019. I don't know.
I like it. I think it's really cool.
I think it's cool too. But the point remains is they should make their own game and call it something else, and it's probably going to look. It's going to look just as good. I'm not saying they should stop with Room, but I'm saying when they're done with it, they got to make something else too, like their own thing, because they clearly have the talent there.
That's true.
This one, either was it? This.
Well, I think that's something about Roblox that, like, obviously is like I wouldn't say, well, I guess exclusive to Roblox in a way, because, like, I don't know, Roblox is kind of a unique platform. Is that a lot of developers get on here and they want to make things that either they've already seen or that they like. Usually, like, anime games is kind of my example. It's like, no, like, anime companies or whatever aren't going to, like, put out, like, the games like Grand Peace Online and all that, where it's just like this RPG where you can be whoever you want.
Yeah, because it's the same thing with well, I mean, Pokemon's not allowed on the platform anymore, but like, I liked Pokemon a lot as a kid, and I wish someone would make a Pokemon MMO where you could just like literally like Pokemon game but completely open and like 3D and like all the 3D models, because I like played the GameCube games where they had 3D models, super cool, and like everyone could just do that and they could explore the world together and just that'd be awesome, and that's something that's possible on Roblox. But if I did it, I'd get like shut down, because it's Pokemon.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, but you're right. No, these big companies, they don't want to make like the cool games because I don't know.
I wonder, is it too much profit?
Well, there's a bunch of licensing problems.
Is it too much cost?
So they got to get. I mean, I think it wasn't like people were talking about when Jump Force came out. That was like a miracle that it got all the licensing rights or something.
All the licensing.
I don't know.
And then the game ended up not doing well.
Yeah, it sucked.
Because it sucked. Yeah.
But I mean, that's AAA game design in a nutshell, anyways. So.
Is that why we don't really get like that many cool games from AAA anymore? Because like there's so much like, I guess, bureaucracy and bullshit behind it.
No, kind of, because what the bureaucracy is telling them is that you have to do this if you want to be successful. Like, your game has to have RPG elements to have more
loot
engagement,
boxes.
And it has to have loot boxes because we know that it's monetizable. And
I think that message has been like pushed to like some of the Roblox community though. Like, I feel like people think there's a certain way you have to make games on this site. Like
it is.
I remember
when I was I've had thoughts like that before too.
Well, remember when we were like, I wouldn't say when we were interning, but I think we probably talked to people like RDC and stuff where it's like, but remember back when simulators were like huge?
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
Way bigger than they are now.
Yeah, they were crazy.
Like a year or 2 years ago. And they're still pretty big, but they're not like, I don't know, it's not as like...
They were the number one game. They were games that hit number one before like Adopt. There was games that would hit number one against simulators.
And that's the thing, it's like, and then people just started saying, oh, you have to make simulators to be successful, and I feel like that's almost like poisonous to our community.
That was super poisonous to Roblox does. because now it's like they don't want to. You know how many I see it all the time, especially for people that are starting out. They say they want to make a cash grab so that they can fund the project they really want to work on.
So they can make something fun. Yeah,
which is a good. Maybe that's what they have to do, but that's not what they should. They shouldn't have to do that because it's going to drain their soul. And
that's the thing. Well,
it's hard to tell people.
I feel like that's why a lot of people don't get into it.
The truth is they should make something they're passionate about, but it's hard to tell them that because maybe they don't have the financial time to do that. They don't have the
one, they might not have the financial time, and two, it's like the time they put into that passion project, in all honesty, probably not like net them any real profit. And that's really sad. Like I mean, I don't like working on like cash grab style games. Like I even tried to make a simulator like a long time ago. It was like one of my first projects, and it just drained my soul, and that's why like I ended up like going and making rogue and stuff because I was like, fuck it, I'll just go make something I like, and if it works out, cool. But a lot of people don't have that time that they can spend on those things. That's a luxury, and so I understand when people like make cash grabs and stuff. It's like
but the thing is, they don't realize like cash grabs are really risky too. Like even if you go and make a simulator, it's not going to turn out. I've made simulators that haven't turned out. You've made simulators that haven't turned out. I've known other people that try it and it just flops. It's like either a simulator flops completely or it does amazing, and the chances are so low that you don't even realize it because everyone's doing it.
It's a saturated market. That's the thing. People think, oh, well, I'll just make a cash grab, but odds are that might not even work out either because it's not unique.
You know what the new cash grab strategy is? This is what people are doing now, and I don't even think people realize that they're doing it. But if people want to if you want an alternative to cash grabs, but you like pretend like you're going to make a game that you're passionate about, and you like hype it up to everybody and you show everyone you're working on this this new game. Let's say it's an anime game because everyone wants to play anime games. So you're like, this new Bleach game, like you hype up this new Bleach game's coming out, and you just constantly post really good screenshots and stuff on Twitter.
Like out of context screenshots of like how good something looked.
Really HD models that you like ripped from
some effect you made.
And then you hype everyone up for it. If you really want to go crazy, you give it a countdown. You give it like that one game did. And then you release it for like paid access for like 250 Robux, and everyone buys it, and then they realize it was just a cash grab. But then they can't get But it's also there's enough there that they can't
that's a scam.
It was not really a scam because the game's there. It's just not a good game. They hyped it up to be a good game, but in reality, it was just a cash grab.
It might even look really nice too. That's the thing.
That's the way to do it. I think and then you can do whatever you want after that. There you go. There's the new strategy.
A lot of people get like drawn in by the screenshots and these videos that like show things out of context and like make things like look really good, but like either it doesn't play well or it's just not very interesting once you're actually in the game. Me personally, and I think you kind of share this philosophy, but your effects are really nice. Is like how something feels is way more important than how something looks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because of like.
But if you get them both, it's even better.
If you get them both, it's perfect. But like,
well, I mean,
I would rather have something that feels
something that feels
awesome
better
than like
works mechanically better 100 times more than if it looks nice. Because I've played so many games. Not so many. I've played a lot of games that have like these like great animations and like great trails and effects for sword swing or whatever. And then it like doesn't matter because it feels like you're like slapping wet paper up against a wall. It's like, what are you doing? Or why am I doing like this elaborate spin around to do like one damage? And why I don't know.
I think that's like a good lesson on like how good things feel. It's like expectation and it being like met. Like if you like wind back a giant like great sword swing, that thing should hit like a truck, right? Like. People out here making great swords in games that like
slice right through stuff, man.
Just slice through stuff and do nothing. Yeah,
I don't know. So definitely focus on mechanical, how it feels. Is it fair? I'm talking about combat at this point. Is it fair? Does it feel like you're actually doing what you're doing? Is there depth to what's going on?
Yeah. That That's something to bring up. Combat systems.
Combat's
I feel like
a
everyone
really
right now
tricky
is
combat.
well. Everyone right now is going for the 4-hit combo, right? Like that's kind
That's
of
definitely
yeah.
that's the joke we make all the time. That's the meme right now. That's what happened. That was like, I don't know if it was NO1 that did it first.
I think it was NO2.
No,
Or well, I
NO1
think
had a
NO1 had it,
combo.
but I think NO2 really like.
Well, NO2 definitely had this 4-hit
it.
combo system, or maybe it was 5. I don't know what it was. But basically, if you hit first, you kept going with the combo, unless you did an M2. And then Rogue had the exact same M1s, where as long as you kept clicking, you'd commit to the combo. And then after those two games are now everyone knows about, then everyone does it. I think Blood's Hit, the game we're playing right now, has that.
It has a 4-hit combo.
Like, I can't get out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what almost everybody's doing right now.
I think a lot of people actually like that right now. Like, because like I think it's more new to them.
Yeah, it's more new to them because they didn't play the other games.
But. Yeah, because they didn't play the other game. And I think it can be done well. I think this game has like some interesting mechanics. Like, look, if you like hit my block or whatever, I can like parry you. Oh, there we go. Yeah. And then I get a combo in, which, in my opinion, is a little too punishing. But
these great footsies games,
it definitely at least it's doing different.
It's all about first hits and mind games because once you land a hit, you're guaranteed a hit. But that's the change that we're obviously making in our games now is that getting hit first isn't the end of the world. That's the next level of change is that getting hit isn't the next end of the world. But there's tons of different ways to do combat. I'm sure in games, it's just Roblox games.
I want to see how that goes. Like I'm a little I wouldn't say worried, but like I'm interested to see like how people take to like Deepwoken's combat, right? Because it's like it's not 4-hit combos. There is like combos in it, but when you hit the other player, they are not so hard stun locked that
I think they'd like it options. Because
I think they would too.
Well, maybe dedicated hardcore rogue guys won't like it, but like new players would definitely enjoy it because I feel like a problem. Everyone knows the rogue. All the joke about rogue is when you play it, you get ganked by old players and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and if you're comboed and you're dead.
Yeah, if in Deepwoken you can get out of being comboed, that's a significant. It doesn't feel like you're screwed, even though you still might be.
Yeah. I think that's I don't like in games when
my agency
a player is completely removed. It does.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And that's like more of a footsies game because of it.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And I think that's what it comes down to. The 4-hit combo usually kind of, I wouldn't say devolves, but it becomes a footsies game at the end of the day because first hit wins. But when you have like systems that, even if you get hit once, like you have other options, it becomes a lot more interesting. Like BU is probably like my favorite example of that, even though they haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's tons of games.
I feel like you should do some kind of like, I don't know, like showcase of that at some point, or maybe they'll see it when like the games like that use these kinds of systems actually come out. But like, I feel like getting people's minds open to like the idea of like, I guess we're calling them posture systems, but like combat systems like this.
Yeah, but the only reason that posture exists in those systems is because it's a way to limit how often you can escape a combo. There's other ways to do that.
Yeah, and it's effectively
and whatever, And where you can have the stuns, like the lock combos might have to be difficult to pull off, or those might even have the cooldowns instead of the limiters of how often you can combo. There's different things people can try and do to make games not exactly the clones of whatever combat system they enjoy to play. Just trying to mix it up,
I think that's the thing too, though. People do want to like, at least new developers like see something they like and they get inspired, and they want to go and try and make that. So
I mean that's no problem.
I think when they end up getting more experience, they like are more willing to like experiment or whatever with it.
I mean, I think this game probably does a pretty good job of mixing it up a little bit. It still has the same classic forward system, but then there's all other stuff you can do, perfect blocks and parries and whatever. I don't know what else because I don't play this game, but I'm sure there's more. Stamina bar.
A game that actually came out that with like a posture system that like it received some negative feedback was Blox Wars because of how that game's posture system worked.
Yeah, well, but the difference in Blox Wars is when you got your posture broken, you died instantly.
Right. Yeah, you did die instantly. But at the end of the day, that system, is that even a posture system then? Because, effectively, that's just another health bar. And then it just regenerates really fast. Like, if you remove that posture bar from Blox Wars, right?
Yeah.
And then you made it so it's just your health bar, and it just regenerates fast when you're not being hit. Or whenever you parry, you would get some health back. It would effectively be the same system, just not in people's heads, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what. I never liked the Blox Wars combat. I was bad at it, so I didn't know. Didn't have very strong opinions because I was bad at it.
I actually enjoyed it, but it was more of a. I thought it was interesting because it was kind of true to the movies, right? Because it's in the movies, if you get hit by a lightsaber, you get one-shotted. So I thought that was an interesting way of
implementing that idea. Yeah, well, it's better than lightsabers not insta-shotting, because then it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, then it's why didn't this kill them?
I mean, I definitely if I made a Star Wars game and I did lightsabers, I definitely have to do some kind of system like that where it's based around some kind of way to, that's why it's not health, because if it was health, then it doesn't make sense. It's got to make sense in the lore.
Yeah. I feel like maybe going forward with a Star Wars type system, because in lightsaber duels and stuff, it's all about securing an opening. Whereas in Blox Wars, it's kind of beating against your opponent's shield.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe what a perfect lightsaber game would be is a lot of defensive options and a lot of mix-up options, and whoever gets the first hit
to secure that hit.
And it's not even the first hit.
I think that could be really fun.
The first, the best hits, right? Because if you got a hit, but it wasn't a good hit, they might just lose an arm, right? And a good hit is the head of the chest.
In the head. Yeah, there's definitely interesting things you can do there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something with Roblox is that if you have a fun combat system, people are going to play your game. It doesn't even have to be a very interesting game in terms of other mechanics. I think if you have a fun combat system, a lot of people will at least give your game a chance. You might be able to get at least 500 players, right?
Yeah.
Just with
the dojo,
a fun combat system.
You gotta go, everyone has to fight the dojo just with the combat. That game. I don't know. What's that game? The Japanese one that has really good animations and stuff.
Which one?
You haven't heard of it recently? Shoot, I don't have the name of it. It's a free for all. It's a battle. It's not a battle royale, but it's it's 4 teams, and it's Japanese themed. It has really good sounds and animations.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and
I feel like I played it.
That game does whatever we were just talking about, because I already forgot.
It's just combat.
Oh yeah, it's just combat. Yeah.
And I feel like Roblox players they're happy with that, because most of the combat systems you make on Roblox aren't going to be on other AAA games either, because they're they're using the Roblox physics engine and stuff, and
I don't even know
in this third person perspective. There's just cool stuff.
I don't even know any AAA games that have a good combat. It's like a truly good one.
You can reference Dark Souls, right, as an example of PvP combat, but Dark Souls combat actually is kind of
Dark Souls PvP isn't the end all be all of online play. I guarantee you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, then that's what most online competitive games are, all shooters.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have games like Street Fighter and Smash, but those are
Smash.
Smash is a platform fighter, right? But traditional fighting games like Street Fighter are, I wouldn't say they're slow, but they tend to be I don't know, harder to jump into. They definitely there's a barrier to entry to enjoying those games. Whereas with a Roblox combat, you're used to moving your character around, and if it's click to swing a sword, then it's not hard to get into.
Arcade fighters and stuff like that, those are really combo focused games, especially Street Fighter, where you have light punch, light kick, medium punch, medium kick, heavy punch. It's it's a lot of buttons. And I think that's what turns a lot of people off, because you gotta know the buttons and what cancels into what and how to do basic combos before you can even play the game.
Right.
And that's honestly, that's probably where a lot of the skill comes in. The immediate skill that you have to get down in games like Street Fighter is learning all the combos that everybody can do and how to do them correctly and how to do them in the right order and with like how fast you have to do them
and do them without thinking about them.
Yeah, getting them down, and then after that it becomes all mental, I think. But yeah. So no one I've never. I mean, I don't know. What about Absolver? I never played that game when it came out, but everyone.
I played Absolver a little. I didn't get very deep into it, but there's a system in this game where you can give your moveset to other players. And I don't know how, but I ended up getting this one guy's moveset and had this like tornado kick type of thing, and I would just spam that move and beat everybody. It wasn't that interesting.
I mean, I heard someone say they changed it recently.
Oh, I haven't played with it recently.
That's what someone said.
I don't know. Absolver had some cool stuff though, like you could summon weapons, but they were like all weapons were kind of like power weapons because everyone's fighting with their fists. So whenever you like summoned your weapon, it was like actually meaningful because it always did damage, even if they like blocked it.
Sure. Or what about?
I think that's a cool concept.
There's also those medieval fighting games, right? Like Mordhau, and then what was the one that came before Mordhau?
Chivalry.
What?
Yeah, Chivalry.
Oh no, Chivalry. The other one too. The third one that was like really bad. And what was the other one? It was like it was.
One second.
It was
what? I'm in a podcast right now.
Do you know the one I'm talking about? It was like it had Nordic, and then it had like Japanese, and then it had like a third one.
Oh, For Honor.
Yeah, For Honor. That's the one I played. Yeah, those all go through a different approach of first person fighting, which is, that's a different system altogether. That's about. I prefer those. I prefer that to like Street Fighter for sure in terms of fighting, because at least I can kind of.
I really liked Mordhau. Like I got into Mordhau a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was because that's like, well, you can do third person in that, but like preferably it's first person because you're like moving your sword all over the screen and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. Like before that game, I didn't know like a game like that could exist where like melee combat like with swords and stuff could like be that interesting or that complex.
Yeah, but at the same
it's not even that complex.
Yeah.
It's like 4 or 5 buttons.
Yeah, it's not that many. Well, I mean, if it's with your mouse, it's not even that, Oh, yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't work on Roblox, though, due to Roblox's latency issues. Obviously, there we go. There's another Roblox. What can Roblox add? Better servers, better network connections, better locations for the servers. Please.
That's something. Okay, so when you use like magnitude hitboxes, right? Mm-hmm. Here, come here. I don't know if this game uses magnitude hitboxes, but you know how like in maybe like a game like Rogue, you'll be like chasing somebody, right? Or you'd be like walking towards somebody swinging, and on your screen, you're
smacking the heck out of them, yeah. But in reality, they're really over here.
They're like over there, exactly. And people don't even understand that. They're just like, oh, these hitboxes are bad. It's like no, it's like Roblox latency is a bitch, and that's why like you'll have to like hit behind them if they're walking backwards because that's technically where they are on the server. And that's what players like have learned to do, right? But like new players get fucked up by it because they don't know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Roblox could do. I don't know how. I'm not a server connect. I mean, I understand all the concepts, but I'm not an expert. And maybe this is as good as it gets, but I feel like I've played online games that do it. I get 20 ping, on those games, and I don't think I've ever had 20 ping on Roblox.
I've never hit 20 ping on Roblox. I actually think about that. Like, when I was playing, like, Valorant for a while, I'd get, like, 20, 30 ping or whatever, and I'd be like, how is this even possible? How does this work?
Yeah.
Man, there was something we were talking about a second ago. Where you were talking about, what we were talking about up on the mountain. We were talking about
funding,
like making success funding your passion. Yeah. Yeah. Is that the best way to like go about it? Like, because like you said, it's like games, even like cash grabs flop, right?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if you put in a game with zero passion, I feel like you're almost like dooming yourself for failure.
Yeah, I know that'd be a good question to ask a lot of people. That'd be a good interview question. Be like, hey, were you passionate about this project when you made it, or did you do it for But I know a lot of cash grabs still fail, and cash grabs, even if they fail, they do make a decent amount. Not decent, but they make enough that I wonder. I don't know what these people mean for funding money. Some people mean money so they can like get by in real life and pay rent. Some people mean get the money to upload Roblox sounds, and I think that's the only thing that costs money to upload sounds. Or pay developers, that too. Pay contractors and whatever, that kind of thing.
That's a big problem in the community, is people not paying people, because Roblox doesn't regulate that at all.
Well, I don't think Roblox should regulate it, but they should provide a better platform for people to discuss it. Roblox should say, or maybe Roblox can support an easier ways of paying contractors and other developers other than group funds.
Right now, you basically have to do a group, and Roblox is actually fine. Like, you're not supposed to give away Robux, right? Like, that's against TOS. But paying for services is like in this gray area where it
really is, right? because there used to be, and it might still be there in the Roblox terms of service. It's something like you can't pay, cash US dollar for like virtual places or virtual items, and it's like, well, that's obviously not true, because I pay a map builder, and thousands of people pay builders for their maps. That's a place file, that's an object, and you don't get terminated for that. So it's in a weird gray area, and they don't want to get too involved, I'm sure, because they don't want to have to deal with scamming and chargebacks or any of that stuff. That's why they'll never do their own marketplace, other than like, maybe they could support current methods a little bit better. But there's no standard funds. Anytime I talk to, or standard funds, what do I mean? Standard price for anything.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that kind of depends on the developer.
Yeah, it depends on the developer and the contractor and their relationship as well. Do they know each other? Are they friends? Would they do the work for, a small amount for free, or for percentage, or for base, and how much do those contractors value their work at? And
I talked to one of my contractors about this recently, and I talked to you about it. It's like, they were asking, oh, well, you pay me X, so like, what should they be paying me? I'm like, well, you got to think like it's different, like, because if the person you're working with doesn't have a successful game already, then they may not have the money to pay you. They may not be able to like pay you that amount that like someone with a successful game would.
That's true.
Like, Adopt Me can obviously afford to pay its modelers like great stuff, right? Because it has a ton of money, but like a game with like 200 concurrent players like may not be able to like afford, like, maybe they'll still be able to pay you, like obviously you shouldn't work for free, but maybe they either have to pay you in a percentage, or they have to pay you like lower, because that's all they can actually like offer, and that's where price discussion comes in.
A lot of contractors feel awkward about it, I think. I've talked to so many that they don't want to define their own price. Even though in the real world, when you get out in the real world and you're working for people and you're doing freelance work, or even if it's not even developer related, if we're talking about construction, remodeling, painting, graphic design, all that stuff, if you're the person that makes it, you set your own price. You're the one that determines the price, not your client.
And you shouldn't, not the buyer. Yeah, like that's that.
But that's on Roblox. It's really messed up because they're afraid to do it. They don't want to lose the business. They don't want to come off as an asshole. And there's no.
I think it's, you have a lot of kids. Like, you have like a lot of like, teenagers and stuff working, and they don't really know what their
they don't know what their worth. They don't know what their worth is worth, and they don't want to come off like an asshole, thinking that their worth is way more than they think it is, or way less. And so that's the tough thing. But if they and because nobody knows what anybody pays anybody. They can't even base it off anything. So, but
because it's like, well, do you pay by the hour? Do you pay by the quality? If it's super gray when it comes to Roblox contracting.
Yeah, it's super crazy.
And then you have like drama on, like, you'll see it on Twitter sometimes, where it's like, well, they said X, but they didn't do this or whatever, and like when there is real scamming, that's nasty. I mean, like, when you like promise to pay somebody and you don't pay them, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's effectively stealing, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely something that needs to. Well, I think it's not nothing needs to change. It's just that unless you have a reliable team of people you've already worked with before, people are going to struggle to find people to work with and know how to pay them. Even if you know.
I think that's a problem we don't really deal with is like finding like talent, right? Because like I have like friends who will ask me, it's like, oh, can you put me in like contact with a really good scripter, a really good modeler and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, probably.
Well,
but like I don't think I've ever had to like ask
the common ones
anybody.
like that. Yeah, for the common ones like scripters, modelers, and stuff like that. That's pretty easy for us with our connections to find people like that. When you come to more niche things like graphic design,
sound designers.
Oh, sound design is super niche, but I mean like graphic designers. Even like if you want someone to like draw art for your game, we have a bunch of people that draw art, but who do you want to choose? And maybe it doesn't. Maybe they don't have the style that you're looking for. UI design, stuff like that. Those are more niche things that are harder to find, even as big developers. I mean, you can ask around much easier as a big developer. And then sound design, that's a super niche one too. And you have a guy, and I actually just found a guy recently.
Who does sound design?
Well, he does music design, and so does your guy, right? Right. So
yeah, Nocti.
And I want to do
shout out Noctogonus.
Yeah, if you want to do
that guy's super talented.
If you want to do exactly sound effects design, that's like a totally different thing, and that one's way harder to find too. I mean, so there's a lot of people that make music, and but there's not that many people that want to make sound effects. I want to make sound effects. That's something I like to.
I think sound effects are super cool.
Yeah, I dabble in trying to make my own sound effects for stuff nowadays, but
a lot of people will take sound effects from games they really like for Roblox games. Like that's pretty common, I'd say.
That is super common, but that's
obviously that's illegal. Or
it's
a copyright gray area, right?
Yeah, it's not. Unless it's music, sound effects. I've never heard anyone getting DMCA'd for like a sound effect, right? But what would happen is if they had a sound effect and someone DMCA'd it, they just take it off Roblox, and then the sound would be copyrighted like the music does. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And that's happened before. No. There's sound effects that aren't here.
Well, a lot of like ABA music right now is down.
Well, that's music. I'm talking about sound effects.
It gets copyrighted.
There's sound effects that maybe get copyrighted too. Like, you want to know one? Gone's punch sound got copyrighted.
Really?
I don't even know what that sound effect was. I know it wasn't music.
Oh yeah, you hear the
charging. It's gone now. It was a sound effect copyrighted. So it happens.
No, it sounds like that music or whatever.
But if I could find a dedicated sound effect guy, those are people that are actual like industry professional at the point, because
I mean, Nocti does sound effects and he does really good ones. Like not only music design, he's done like a ton of sound effects in Deep Woken.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to talk down Nocti or anything, but I wonder how flexible is he really? Is he about sound effects? How many sound effects can he really generate?
Like what can he do? How quickly can he do them?
Yeah, because like if you go like industry standard, like these guys, those are I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, because for developers like us, I would say it's unreasonable to like if I have to make like 10 moves or whatever, I can't like say, let's say I have to make 10 of them in one night. It's kind of weird to like go, okay, I need to commission 10 like sounds from this guy right now, when in reality I could just like get a sound or a couple sounds off the library, put some like effects on them, like some of the Roblox effects, and then I'll have 10 different sounds and I'll be good.
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds crazy. And then I wonder what are some of the niche ones. Animators, that's a hard one for me. I don't want to hire an animator because I do all my own animations. And I've had people tell me my animations look like crap, but I've also had people say they're fine. So, I think mine are decent enough. Gets the message across. I'm not gonna
the same with me. Like, I have people that'll tell me, oh, these are great. Or, like, some people will be like, oh, wow, these look like terrible.
I'm not going to hire an animator. I'm not looking for fully...
I think some people are more picky about animations. But I will... if I feel like I can't do an animation justice, and it's like something... That's you're gonna see it a ton, right? Like for example, like let's say I can't do a walking animation very well, and I want that to look really good. I might contract that.
Yeah, something like that.
Because then it's like,
but that'd be a contract. It wouldn't be a dedicated animation guy. I think I found another secret. By the way, I'm down by the.
I don't even know where you are.
Follow the water. Follow the river all the way down to the bottom.
Okay. But yeah, like having a dedicated animator, I'm not sure about, but definitely. I don't know. I've never worked with an animator who's specifically an animator on a project. But maybe it could be really nice.
Well, yeah, but here's why I think it wouldn't be nice. Is because, when I script my attacks or moves or anything like that. Combat, like I'm
Yeah.
doing a lot of animation manipulation. Like I'm changing the speed of the animation. I'm changing the time position of it. Sometimes I change the weight of the animation, which is like how much it affects your body and the strength of it. I do a lot of those changes, and I set up my animations in a particular way so that I know that that's how they're going to be when I do them later. And I wonder if I had an animator, if they'd be able to capture that. You know, would it be as
to like accommodate it?
For me to know what the heck I'm doing. I think we're just going to go out of bounds of the map.
I feel like if you had like someone you consistently work with, you know, like it could work, right? Because they know what you want, they know what you need. But like just hiring some stranger, that might.
But also, yeah, even if there was, I feel like I'd be worse if it was like some guy you knew, because the work wouldn't be very regular. It'd be super like wishy-washy of how often you need help or need the animations. It's like, well, I need like 10 right now because I'm making something, but I'm not going to need anything for like a week because the next stuff I'm making just reuses animations you've already made for me.
Well, then that comes down to, does the animator get a percentage? Because, like...
I wouldn't pay an animator percentage.
Do they get percentage or do they get like contract work? Because
contract.
You know me, like I usually think that if you work commission right, like you get paid for the commission. Like let's say I need a build, I would usually. Well, I think it depends, but usually for me, it's like, oh, if you make a build, I'll pay you for the build. Like let's say like a really big map, like 1 million Robux, like something like that, like a huge map, 1 million Robux, and then that'd be it. That'd be the transaction. But like for an animator, I mean, like I'm kind of like rambling right now.
It's okay,
but. But if like a builder is constantly making maps for you and like is constantly updating the game, maybe you would consider paying them a percentage then, because it's like, it makes more sense, right? It's like they're constantly working on the game.
Well, then when it comes to newer developers, the problem, that's a big thing that they debate all the time is, should I give this guy a percentage or should I give him a flat amount? Which is a difficult thing because when it's a bunch of new developers, you know, percent is either is a gamble because the game might do well or the game might do garbage. If the game does garbage, they get nothing. But if the game does well, they get a bunch. But if they do the flat amount, that might be too much. They might be asking for too much. But if they don't ask for that, then they might not get anything. You know?
Right.
Or if they ask for enough and they think it's enough and the game does really well, then they feel like they're screwed out of the deal because they didn't get all the money they could have. You know?
Right.
It's really,
and that's why it's important to like keep those, like make those deals like, I don't know, just like have both parties like in agreement, make sure nobody's feeling like, oh, am I kind of getting underpaid here? It's like, to just be very direct. Like if you're a contractor, you should be like direct with what you want.
Contractors definitely need to stand up for themselves a lot more.
No. I think that's the big thing. It's where like they just don't know what to ask. And
yeah, I mean, they don't know the value of their work. It's a hard thing to quantify. It's even hard to quantify, you know, me explaining stuff or, you know, trying to help them explain how much I want to pay or how much I think they should be paid, because it's like, I don't know, it depends. It all depends.
That's why I try to pay my contractors like a little more than what I think it's worth, just so it's like,
I'll pay them.
One, it's like a good working relationship, right?
Yeah.
Because like I think like if you're working with somebody and like you're willing to pay a little more because like you respect their services and like who they are and like you enjoy working with them, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's worth it to pay them more.
I think so too, because what you're doing is you're showing what that work is worth to you. Because even though they don't know what the work is worth to them, you know what it's worth to you, and you're paying them what you think it's worth. You're trying to show them that I appreciate you this much, just even though you only asked for what, you know, I gave you this.
Well, let's say like a model or something. They say they want like 1K for this set of armor, like something like really low. Like let's say they made like a whole like 3D model,
and it looks cool as hell,
and it looks awesome as hell. And it's like, here's how about 1K? I'd be like, nah, man, like that's worth like 10K because you did that's worth so much more to me than 1K.
That's happened a lot where I have to give my contractors more than they even ask for. It's just like, you're so low, but you're lowballing yourself, man. And I know you.
Let me
it's
clarify.
Not your fault.
Let me clarify. When I say 1K and 10K, I mean Robux.
$1,000 for one set of armor? That's trash.
This is worth $10,000.
It's $1. I don't know. I feel like someone's gonna hear that and be like, "Man, modelers are getting paid 10K USD."
I'm gonna start modeling armor. Hey, modeling armor is a good one, man. Those are hard people to find.
I think so too. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to
I really appreciate my modelers. Like, they go crazy. Yeah, shout out Esta King. That guy's crazy.
Man,
he's made a lot of like the accessories that like people have seen in the leaks for Deep Woken and stuff.
Blender's definitely. This is an Esta King thing with our mom, but Blender's definitely becoming the standard for I guess mesh parts are becoming the standard for everything now. Unions, Roblox unions, the second they started supporting mesh parts better, they screwed themselves because now no one uses unions.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to use unions at that point.
Only for really minor stuff, unions. Like if I wanted to negate, like, like a chipped wall or like, brick that had like if I wanted to make this look damaged, this like piece of wood right here, I made a bunch of chips out of it, then I'd union because it's quick and easy. But if you're doing like swords or armor or anything like that.
I remember back in the day, Union swords were like so cool because they looked like so detailed. Now it's like,
they can still
want a model.
They can look as good if they try. It's not worth. It's much easier to do it in Blender, at least according to what Horror told me. It's just it's faster to do it in Blender now, and it's most likely less polygons, less lag, etc., and more control. So it's like, why even bother? But, he also told me that if Roblox supported a way to make meshes inside of Studio, he'd probably just use that for at least the simple stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But that's a whole new contract right there. You had builders, and now you have modelers. That's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Things are expanding pretty quick.
All in all, on like paying contractors, like for any developers out there who like actually like outsource these things, just try like I think we said something earlier about like paying what it means to you. That also doesn't mean you should
give them $1 because it's all you got. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, don't do that. Like, don't take it that way. Like, I would always say like try and pay them like fairly or a little bit more than fairly, so you like have a good working relationship if you can afford it, right? Like, obviously, in some cases, like if all you can afford is like $20, for example, $20, then like see if they're okay with that. If they are, great. But if they're not, I mean, don't steal their work just because like they gave it to you and then they said, okay, can you pay me now? And then you say, I actually don't have enough money. Sorry. Like that's shitty.
I mean, it's, there's a lot of people starting developing now. I feel like at least a lot of people we know are starting it up and working at it, and these are issues they're going to run into.
Yeah. What would you say is like the biggest issue like devs run into when it, what's the biggest issue would you say like you ran into like when you were trying to make like games that you wanted to be bigger, like you wanted them to like pop off?
What do you mean, like bigger in terms of like more popular?
Or
do you mean bigger as in like a bigger
like final,
more stuff?
like we'll say final stand. Like you wanted Final Stand to like do well, right? You wanted that to be like kind of a big game.
Yeah,
and it was. But so like, well, what was the biggest obstacle there? Like, was it stress? Because I know for me, like stress is definitely a factor when you're making like a game and eyes are on you. I don't know if like there was a ton of people like.
There wasn't a lot of hype back then. Back then, my Twitter only had like 300 followers, so that wasn't a big deal. And obviously Discord, there was a Discord for it, anything like that. I gotta think about that because it's been like 4 years since developing that or making that game originally. But I think when I was working on that game, I took a break for a long time too. I was working on it, and I took a break for months, and then I went back into it, and it was a long development process, really.
That's what. Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember, but what was the actual obstacle from that? Was probably. I mean, that was just like the sheer amount of content I had to make at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of I had to make all the moves and all the quests and all the empty. This is before I had systems automatically set up for me to easily make that, or not easily, but more effectively make that stuff. Took me like a couple months to make, some of the final touches for the original release of that game. So I guess time, and also that's when I was in college, so that was a real pain.
So that was even harder.
Yeah, I didn't have, I feel like nothing was moving along. I'm sure a lot of people are going to have that feeling too, nothing moving along, even though you're adding stuff.
That's actually,
anything changes.
That's actually a huge one, is that even though you've been working on the game a while, and you have added a lot of things, the game might not feel like that much more complete. Like, obviously, it is a lot more complete than when you started, but it may not feel that way. You may feel like, like, this isn't, like, finished at all. And I had that moment in Deep Woken, like, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, dude, there's not enough to do right now. It's like, why do I, like, have people testing it? And, like, there's testers on every night just, like, playing, like, the content that's there. And I'm like, oh, wow, like the game is actually, like, playable, right?
Yeah.
It's just, like, kind of weird because, like, you yourself, you look at it and you're like, oh, well, this isn't playable. They're, like, because you know everything in the game, but, like, your players might not. They might still be out there, like, exploring, like, looking for things, even when the game's not totally finished. And that's talking about testing phase, at least.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be things people run into. Feeling like development comes for all. And it really might not be. Wish there was a good way. I wish I had advice to tell people on how to, like, how do you know that the game actually is progressing, even though it doesn't feel like it. I don't have anything to say.
How do you know when the game's done?
No. Well, that's a good one. How to know when the game's done. That's something I told you the other week, or like a couple days ago, about not when the game's done, but when you think the game's done, give it like a week. Give it an extra week. Oh, I want to talk about that idea, because that already happened with, or I don't know for sure because it's not like I interviewed the guy, but that's what I think happened with Moody and Clover, is when he was really pushing himself to finish that game, by a certain date, whatever date he announced, and he was really pushing himself and the entire team to work on that game and get it out. And then they were super stressed out, and they finally made it on the due date, and then they released it, and they thought finally, it's all done. And then when you realize once you finally release a game, after working on it for so long, you have to now bug fix, exploit fix, glitch fix, everything that all these hundreds or thousands, depending on your size, of players find now. You can't, balance these things that you didn't even think about before because you were just rushing to get it done. And now you have all this more stress, all this more work that you thought was going to be gone. But in reality, you just have more stuff stacked on top of the idea that you have to add more content in general now because people are burning through it. It's way more than people realize is when you finally release a game. And my advice to solve that was, when you think you're ready to release the game, well, there's two pieces of advice. When you think you're ready to release the game, give it a week and make sure that, there's any polishing or bug fixing or whatever thing you can think of. Might as well just make sure that's 100% ironed out. And then the other one is wait another week of just pure relaxation, just so that you're ready for when the release happens and you can be ready for that stress that's going to happen immediately upon release.
Yeah. I think you were talking about like how players like burn through content so fast, and they do, right? But
that's crazy.
I think it's something you told me was with Deep Woken, like make sure the game has like enough content released to where it's like players don't just burn through it in like a week, right?
That's the topic. Do you have more to say about that? Because I have like a lot to say about that.
Yeah. Well, that's part of why Deep Woken's taking so long. Also, on what you said about like taking like a couple months off with Final Stand, like that happened to me with Deep Woken. I was going through like a development period where I was just like, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Like obviously I still wanted to finish Deep Woken, but in my opinion, the game wasn't like fun. Like I was having like a lot of problems where I was like testers would be like, oh, this is fine, this is great, and like I was like super in my head about like, no, I don't think this is like innovative or interesting or like very like fun. And like since then, like since I took that time off and I came back and I started making a lot of changes, I'm like really happy with the game now, and I'm in like way better like mind state about it. Yeah. So I'd say something about that is like,
it's okay to take breaks.
it's okay to take breaks. Don't just like grind yourself to the point where if you feel like something's wrong with your game and you're the head of the project, then like maybe take a step back and take some time to think about it. Don't just try and like keep pushing forward in a direction you don't feel good about. Because like ultimately, like, you know, that quote everyone brings up, it's like a rushed game is forever bad, but a delayed game is eventually good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's true. It's like if you don't feel like the game is ready or it doesn't fit your vision, then like take some time with it. Like don't rush things. It's game development. Rush games end up sucking really badly.
I sure do. I was going to comment on players burning through content really fast, which is crazy, and also made me think about like how Naruto trained to beat like, you know, I don't know, when he was trying to form the Rasen Shuriken, and he had a bunch of shadow clans. And then, like, that's how he, like, progressed so much faster, is because he had shadow clans.
That's kind of like what happens when you release a game.
That's your content.
They burn through it so fast because there's, like, thousands of them or hundreds of them going through it all at once. But that was that's kind of a joke thing. But what I was going to mention about that is that I think that's what happened to, or at least that's my theory, of what I think happened to VTEX and World of Magic. Because we played that, and you remember how, like, it took forever to get more magic, right? Like, you had to get, like, you know, it was every 20 levels or something, and 20 levels was really hard to get. And then when you got it, it wasn't really that impressive. And I think that's because he had so many people progressing so fast, or at least he had the illusion of thinking that people progressed so fast, that he started spacing out how expensive spells were and how long it took to get them. And once he did that, then he started focusing on continuing to feed the players that ran out of content, because they're going to complain the most. And nothing feels worse as like a developer than someone to tell you that, you know, they've run out of content. So you're going to start listening to those guys a lot. And I think that's what happened. I mean, that's my theory of what happened to VTEX, is he kept on trying to focus on those people that are grinding his game 24/7 and are fully done with it. When we played it, which was a couple months, you know, after its big release, and there wasn't that much to do as a lower level player, because he was putting all his effort towards higher level player stuff.
Right.
Which is, I think, a mistake that happens if you get overstressed.
If you, like, backloading content towards the end game, I feel like is a mistake.
I think so,
in
too.
Itself. Like,
I hate that.
Because, like, I hate when, like, the game isn't fun until you, like, get into it.
Yeah. There's a lot of RPGs
deep
that do
into
that.
it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of RPGs that do that, and it sucks.
I mean, obviously, like, having your game simpler like, more of, like mechanics-wise, being more simple up front makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Because, like, you don't want to, like, front-load information, because that also sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to, like, at least, like, enjoying the game, definitely, like, making sure the beginning is, like, fun and engaging in its own ways is, like, super important.
Yeah.
Because if the game's only fun when you're, like, 50 levels in, then, like, I basically had to grind 50 levels to even enjoy something, and like nobody wants to do that. Like, for me, like the kinds of games I like to play, I like to like if it's an RPG, I want to be engaged the whole way through. I want to like jump on and be like, oh, okay, well, what cool thing's going to happen this time? Like, it doesn't have to be like a constant like barrage of like super engaging stuff, right? As long as like a couple interesting things happen each time I log on and play, like it's cool.
Yeah.
And that's also why I like roguelikes, because like, you know, I play a couple runs and I have a good time. And yeah.
Man. I gotta run over to this other end of the map, dude.
Hades does that super.
I want to play Hades. That's definitely. I think I bought it. I think I have it in my Steam list because I bought it. I gotta play it.
It feels way bigger than it actually is, because of how it presents information to the player.
I'd like to. I'm gonna have to check that out, because that stuff's super good to know as a developer. Not even developer, as a game designer.
Yeah, it's just like it's super inspiring, honestly. Like Supergiant Games is insanely talented. Oh, you're down there.
Yeah, I'm trying to go to this. I think it's like the developer base plate that's in the back. I'm gonna go over there if I can. Mm-hmm. Well, we're like definitely at the hour mark.
Yeah.
So
I'm wondering what we could probably wrap this up on one more topic.
Okay, what's the final topic?
We could talk a little about like the projects we're working on, just like briefly.
Okay.
Like what we're doing, and like maybe like something players might not know.
Sure.
Because you definitely I've definitely talked about Deep Woken more than you've talked about like Scarlet Moon.
Or Crimson/Scarlet Moon.
Or Crimson.
Yeah, I can explain that right now. That's what I can explain is why I don't talk about that game. Well, one is well, actually, the truth is because I'm focusing on finishing Dungeon Slayer right now, and the reason I don't talk about that is because I don't want people playing the game, because right now the game's paid access when we put it into beta, which I think in hindsight might have been a mistake, but we were it seemed good at the time, right, when we did it. But now I don't feel, because I'm changing so much, I'm adding a bunch of stuff, I'm trying to and there's bugs and all that stuff in the way, that whenever I feel like I talk about it, then a bunch of people go play it, and it's like I don't want them to play it yet because it's not ready yet. But I can't take it off paid access because you can't. You can't close it because that's scamming the people that did pay for it. It's like, so I just try not to bring that up right now because I don't want people getting the wrong experience. So, and then of course, I don't want to talk about my next project, Crimson Moon or Scarlet Moon. It's two names because I don't know, because I messed it up when I made the group and game names, but it goes by both. Crimson Moon, Scarlet Moon, doesn't matter. The reason I don't talk about that is because I don't want to make people think that I'm not working on Dungeon Slayer. So I'm kind of in a weird spot right now, but it should resolve shortly, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and then also I have another thing to say about that. I'm also scared I'm going to be really interested in how I'm going to promote Crimson Moon during its development, because I don't want to leak a bunch of screenshots of it, because I'm going for like a pretty distinct visual style. And I kind of want to, surprise people when they see it for the first time. So it's going to be really hard for me to leak videos or visual or pictures of anything. So I'm gonna struggle to try and find ways to promote the game. I'll probably do some, mysterious stuff or some weird lore stuff like you
comics,
do.
Man.
Oh yeah, comics. I should draw a manga for it.
Dude, yeah, draw a manga.
Or like animated cutscenes, like generic movie trailers. That's what I'm gonna have to do, because I don't want to show off. I don't want to show off the gameplay because I don't want to. I want to surprise people with a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah. Man. So Deep Woken's coming up on Wave 0 super soon, and that's what I've been really working on, because that'll be the first time a bunch of players actually get into the game, and I'll be seeing a lot more PvP, and I'll be able to see how that works. Which it's still a testing wave, obviously. The game's still heavily in production, but yeah, it's just kind of surreal to me that that's actually so close now, because the game has gone through so many changes over its lifetime. And I had this this tweet that aged super poorly. It was when you figure out the progression on your game or whatever, and you know just how it's gonna work, and then that tweet aged so poorly because the game is nothing like that anymore.
Well, it's not like you leaked anything, though, so at least that's good.
Oh yeah, and yeah, that's why there's been some more leaks recently. It's because I'm getting more comfortable with people seeing it, because I'm actually more confident with the way the game is now, and it's actually more fun, and people testers have actually been enjoying the game, and a system that I'm really happy about, and I'm looking forward to players getting their hands on is build creation, because in Rogue, you just have you have super classes, ultra classes, and it's pretty linear, and there's no real variety. But I'm just really hyped to see what players do with builds in Deep Woken, because it's super fluid and
complex.
Oh man,
that's crazy.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I thought you meant builds bases and playgrounds. I'm dude, Deep Woken's crazy. I didn't know it had that shit. Oh man. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, that. But players are. I'm just excited for them to
experiment
make
with
their own characters. Yeah, exactly. Because obviously, we put in build ideas, right? So this is I guess a minor spoiler, but fire talents and stuff that you can take. But I'm thinking oh, what if a player decides to I don't know, do some kind of Todoroki type build where they go fire and ice talents, and they somehow synergize, and there's this like crazy player that no one knows, or like and like uploads it for people to see on their YouTube or something. Like that's just cool to me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really looking forward to seeing. And obviously, people like exploring the world because I like making like really deep and interesting worlds. All right. Ooh. I think that about wraps it up, though.
Yeah, we're good. I don't know what to say at the end. Bye. I guess.
Catch us next Sunday, or well, we don't know when
we're gonna try to be consistent about updates or uploads.
Yeah. We're gonna be trying to like upload every Sunday. This one might not come out on Sunday, but if it does, that's when you'll see it. If it doesn't, the next upload should be like. So if this comes out before Sunday, right? The next upload will be the Sunday after this Sunday instead of like this coming Sunday.
It's coming out
after that. It'll be
right. You say Sunday too many times. It's coming out. We're gonna try to be consistent. Out. That's the answer.
All right.
Yeah.
Look, Sunday's like the one we want to get, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right. See y'all later.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to our podcast.
Bye.